Alright, we're just going to take a look at some more examples for proofs. So just continue on the next page, and I forgot to label this, so that's going to be example 1, example 2, example 3, and then what you're about to copy down, example 4, example 5, example 6. Alright, so you're going to pause the video and copy each of the examples down. Alright, so let's look at the first one. We're going to prove that these two are parallel. Anytime you're proving that it's parallel at the end, it's going to be converse. So I'm just going to write converse right now. So for whatever reason it is, it's going to be converse of that reason. So why are they parallel? Well, because of these little arrows. So that one arrow each means they've been given that they're parallel. Why is SU parallel to HJ? Because they both have two arrows. That's given in the question. Alright, RTS. So we're going to start labeling our angles. So RTS, that's going to be angle 1. Remember, the angle is found in the V. Is congruent to HIR. HIR. That's angle 2. So angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. And the question is why? So why is 1 and 2 congruent? Because they're parallel lines, and you can see that they're corresponding. So if you took a ruler and you put your pen right there, it's on the right hand side of the pen. You move your pen to the other line, it's on the right hand side of that. So that's corresponding. By now you should know this. Alright, let's look at the next one. HIR. HIR is the same as angle 2, and then RWV. That's going to be angle 3. So why are those two equal? So because they're parallel lines again, if I move my pen, same place, corresponding. Alright, then RTS, I've already written that down for 3, so that's angle 1. And RWV, I wrote down for 4, so that's angle 3. Why are those two the same? Okay, so if you have 1 equals 2 and 2 equals 3, remember transitive property, 1 equals 2, 2 equals 3, then 3 equals 1. The listening check, color transitive. So this is the transitive property. And you need to know, is it equality or congruence? Well, it doesn't have numbers because it doesn't have that small m that says measure, so it's transitive congruence. And then once you have 1 and 3, why are 1 and 3 equal? Well, because again, it's corresponding. So your final reason is converse corresponding. And again, it's converse because you're proving parallel at the end. If you're given parallel in the beginning, then it's just regular. All right, example 5. So you're going to complete this proof. Now you see we're given the reasons, now you have to write the statement. So they mix match each boxes, and you just go with it. So those two are given. So because they have two arrows, Vx is parallel to Gi. What else is given? The one arrows. Su is parallel to Gi. Then the next thing is going to be corresponding. So let's look at the original statement, XWY. Let's label that XWY. That's going to be angle 1 is plus RTU. That's going to be angle 2. And they're asking us something about correspondence. So those aren't the same arrows. So let's look at the same arrows and put the angle in the same place. And then that's going to be correspondence. So angle 2 and 3, they each have 1 arrows. So those are corresponding. Again, if you take your pen and a ruler, it's to the right of the pen, and that was also to the right, so that's corresponding. So what's the relationship between 1 and 3? Well, if you draw your house, you can see they're both outside the house, right? And then they're the same side of the transversal. So that's exterior, same side. All right, then number 5. We need to add the two angles together. So that's going to be the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180. Alright, so I'm going to take these numbers and fill out the letters so I can put them in the statements. So angle 2 is RTU, angle 3 is RHJ, angle 1 is XWY, angle 3 we already wrote, which is RHI. This is a listening check. Circle the number 5. And so then the last line, the measure, the actual statement is true because we substituted. Alright, take a look at the last example. So this one we're doing the reasons. Complete the proof that angle G is congruent to angle GHI. You're given angle 1. I'm just labeling it. IFJ is going to be angle 2. You're given that those two angles are congruent by those little arcs. So that's given. You're also given that those two lines are parallel because of the one arrow. Then IFJ, which is angle 2, is congruent to angle GHJ, so we'll call that angle 3. Why are those congruent? Or you can see they're inside the house and they are in the Z, so that's alternate interior. Right? So that Z, the corners of the Z is alternate interior. So we'll call angle G4, and Fij is already there, which is angle 1. As a listening check, color in this entire line. Angle 4 is equal to angle 1. So why are those equal? Again, they're inside the house if you draw a house, and they're in the Z, which is alternate interior. So inside the house and opposite sides are transversal. Alright, then IFJ, angle 2, is congruent to angle 4. Why? Why is 2 congruent to 4? Okay, because if 1 is equal to 2 and 2 is equal to 3, then 3 is also equal to 1. The transitive property. And it's congruence, again, because these are not really numbers yet, because there's no little m in front of the angles. It's not measure. Right. Then once you have that, why is 4 congruent to 3? Because we're going to substitute it. So we already know all this other information that 1 is congruent to 2 and 1 is the same as 3. 1 is the same as 4 and 2 is the same as 3. Then we can substitute it and say that angle G is congruent to angle GHJ. So if angle X is congruent to angle Y, then and Y is supplementary to Z, then X is also supplementary to Z. We're substituting it in. And that's pretty much it. But these things, you have to take it step by step. You have to take your time. So don't be in a rush when we practice this. Let's practice.
Tell them, man, I'm coming with it, I'm good. Anything